Hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Vidane TV. Tonight, it's the Maritime iRacing League SaniFog 250 from Lanier, the season finale getting ready to get kicked off for these late model drivers. They are in qualifying, getting ready for 250 laps of racing action. Wesley Rowdy Hogue and Kyle Young are somewhere. I believe they're down at the concession stand here at Lanier, Georgia, making sure they are ready to go. Showtime Paul Strickland Jr. is in the production hauler. Paul, are you ready to go?
I am ready to go. We got all the buttons lined up. We are ready to go here for the Maritime Racing League Super Late Model Lanier 250, brought to you by SaniFog.ca. Definitely be sure to check them out throughout the evening here. Man, we got one heck of a race, 250 laps here lined up at Lanier Speedway for these Maritimers. And, man, it was actually a warm one up there in Canada, I believe. Was it not, Tim?
Getting a little more toasty than it usually is. We're getting about July weather in May, so we're getting the good weather. We don't have the racing necessarily to go with it right now at our racetracks, but hopefully that will come as time does as well. The final couple of drivers are getting their time on the racetrack. I believe the top 28 are going to race with us tonight. 250 laps, long way around this racetrack. A lot of race cars, a lot of traffic. Might be a war of attrition. You might need to survive this one to get to the end. It seems like that's the way Lanier is. I'm excited for this, Paul. My chair is actually a little bit across the state, the virtual state, getting ready for the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series coming up on Friday. New time for that. So I was in the state of Georgia. We're racing Atlanta on Friday, so I figured I'd swing by and say hello to everybody.
And you're always welcome here at Vidane TV, the voice of sim racing, and it's always a pleasure to work here with you. Just getting qualifying wrapped up here. It looks like everybody's going to be heading on down to the grid and getting these cars lined up 2 by 2. And like you said, I believe it was the top 28 drivers that we're going to make the field here tonight. So we'll take a quick peek here and see who is going to make this show.
Hey, how's it going here, buddy?
Hey, Wes made it back from the concession stand. Hey, did you get my pulled pork sandwich?
Yeah, that's got done dropping off the kids, and I'm ready here to go racing for 250 laps.
Do they have pulled pork in Canada?
I think that's something that we have. We don't have it fairly often, but we have it.
They have poutine. Poutine tops everything.
Pulled pork poutine, too. We can do that.
There we go. See, now you're talking. Might have to have a cooking with racetrack food here, because unfortunately Stafford Motor Speedway still won't let us go racing. Well, it's the state of Connecticut, unfortunately. But we did get approved to get private test sessions in, so that's pretty exciting there. But taking a look at these drivers right now, Wes and Kyle joining us, the Tim Terry and Showtime Paul Strickland Jr., myself, lining everybody up 2 by 2, kind of the calm before the storm, if you will. Lots of late models here this evening for the season finale.
I'm excited to call this. I believe this is the longest race that we've gotten to call feature-wise out of our broadcasting career, so to say. 250 laps here at Lanier Speedway. I can almost guarantee that it's going to be non-stop action from corner to corner, and seeing some of the familiar names, Paul, Kyle, that we typically call here at the short tracks, like a Corey Hall and a Danny Chisholm, who is going to be one to watch in that 87, Josh Langell, and more. Kyle, who do you got your eye on tonight?
Yeah, Wes, you hit the nail on the head right there. This is going to be a very new style of racing for us. We're usually used to running these short track events with no more than 100 laps, or very few amount of laps over 100 if we're not doing 100 on the dot. So this will be fun. This will be very interesting to see the comers and goer effect that we'll see throughout this race. With it being such a long race, obviously you're not going to see somebody dominate this whole thing. If we do, I'll be extremely surprised. There's going to be attrition, as Tim mentioned earlier on, and for sure. Looking through the field here, trying to pick a guy out that I'm going to be watching, I would have to say I'm going to keep an eye on our points leader, Mike Rhino. He is starting in position number 10 tonight. He'll have a little bit of work to do to get himself up to the front of the field, but as mentioned, with a 250-lap race distance, I don't think he'll have any struggles being able to do that.
And Kyle, we are fielding tonight. 32 have made the field. 32 cars on the 3/8 of a mile Lanier National Speedway. Here's going to be another curveball thrown into the mix. is these leaders aren't going to have much time up front as the green flag is out for Craig McDonald before they get to the back of the field. But we are green flag racing here at Lanier. Corey Hall, Craig McDonald lead the way.
McDonald, your pole sitter, gets out to the early race lead, able to clear the 83 car of Corey Hall. Hall is in second all by himself, and then we're still side by side for position number 3. That's the one machine of Ryan Messer up top, trying to take over position 3 from the 87 of Danny Chisholm. He's got a great run coming off at turn number 4, but Chisholm drives in deep down into 1. He pulls even in the center of 1 and 2. Messer slips just a little bit. This fight continuing on. No clear advantage to anybody just yet.
At Lanier, we had one car pull off the track. I think it's back up going. Right now, your closest battle is for that 3rd position, Kyle, as still side by side is Chisholm trying to work that bottom line on Ryan Messer, trying to clear him. However, Messer able to hold it out there, and then number 1 machine still staying at his right rear into 3.
That'll be something to watch throughout the entirety of the night, guys, is will that outside line be able to be used at any point during this race? As we mentioned, this is a 250 lap race, lots of time to pass throughout this event. That outside line eventually is going to get rubbered up. It may become a factor, may be able to use that to make some passes. We'll see how that all plays out. We know that with Lanier National Speedway, the bottom is the place to be, but with it just being such a long race, that outside line should be able to come in at some point if guys are able to run up there.
We are single file mainly throughout the field here. It seems like these drivers understand how long this race is. Try to get into a rhythm. We want to make it to the end, and the only way to do that is to keep your car clean for all 250 laps. As you guys see this beautiful, beautiful broadcast here coming across you up the day, smooth and crisp. Be sure to hit that follow button. You hit that like button, subscribe button, however you were watching us, as we call action on 7 days a week here at ATV. Thank you for your support. And caution is out.
Caution flag flies for the first time tonight here on lap number 10. Looks like the 21 machine of Roger Down is in trouble off of turn number 4. Kind of glitches out here a little bit, but I think he had some help from the 26.
A connection issue possibly on his side there. I'm not sure if that's just me or what it may be, but yeah, a little bit of a glitch issue there. The 21 goes around. That will bring out the yellow flag. But it looks like no harm, no foul. Honestly, the car looks pretty clean, a Roger Down's 21 machine, and he shouldn't have any issues staying up to speed as we have our shed movers in Surrey.
Yeah, as you can take a look right now, 21 machine had a little bit of a glitch issue there. Got himself spun around just a little bit. No damage or anything like that. Is able to grab a gear and keep on rolling. You see the Tim's Corner Motorsports decal there on the, actually, I believe they call them decals up there in Canada. But rocking the TCM decal up there on that quarter panel of the 21 car. And no harm, no foul. Doesn't have to bring the car back to the shed, which is a good news there. But speaking of sheds, Shed Life Shed Movers is a professional full-service shed moving service located in Central Florida and serves the entire state of Florida. Shed Life Shed Movers has been exceeding customers' shed moving expectations with outstanding customer service for over 12 years. And that's pretty awesome news for our instant replay sponsors of Shed Life Shed Movers.
All right, and of course, keep in mind, if you are in the Florida region, AWS Roofing has been in service now for over 30 years, ranked multiple times the #1 roofing company in the state of Florida. That's AWS Roofing Services. AWS Roofing Services. You can find them on Facebook. And again, a shout out to Jesse Powers, the owner of that company, and his wife Hannah Powers, just recently in the last weeks having a newborn baby. So shout out to those two. If you're watching, you can find Jesse Powers racing with us on Monday and Wednesday night for the new Smyrna League. But for now, we're about to have the official pace truck of iRacing heading back down onto pit road into turn 4, and we are back green at Lanier.
Great restart for the 98 machine of Craig McDonald. Jumps out to the race lead free and clear once again. And that side-by-side battle we saw with Danny Chisholm and Ryan Messer gets round 2 off this restart. Chisholm with the advantage coming off at turn number 4. A little bit of contact made between those two cars. Messer using that top side pretty good off the turn to pull even with Chisholm down the straightaway, but Chisholm still has that preferred line and is trying to clear here coming off of 4.
The storyline here, out of the race so far is Kenny McKenzie. I'm not exactly sure what happened with Mr. McKenzie, but he has been removed from the race. So the Kenny McKenzie fans, I'm sorry, pack up. He's not going to be here. Enjoy the show. Grab yourself a hot dog as there's battles all over this track going into one.
Yeah, we still have that Andy Chisholm and Ryan Messer going on throughout the field a little bit further. We have the 54 car of Nick Codner. He's running side by side with Ethan Miller. That is for position number 9. And then some more side-by-side action going on behind these guys. That's one of the benefits here to the Lanier National Speedways at these restarts with them being double file. It kind of takes a little bit for these guys to single file up close.
I'm sorry there, Kyle. Ryan Messer just gave Danny Chisholm the bumper, and the caution's out further in the back. Big wreck in the back. Multiple cars involved, including the 38 of Travis Roma involved. Mark Williams in the 42 involved, and more. Big wreck coming out of turn 4. It looks like possibly the 38 Aroma. He pile drives into the 42 of Mark Williams, and then they just stack up behind them, Kyle. Cautions breed cautions here in short tracks, and that is deemed to be true, as also Craig Tolley in the number 5 machine was collected as well.
And you can always tell when there's a caution here on Verdane TV. You see the 7 car down low because Wes actually yells as loud as he possibly can and gets about 6 words in at once. But we're taking a look here. 42 and the 38 going for the same piece of real estate, and it looks like the 57 saw what was going on and tried to check up there of John Byron or Jean Baron, depending on the nationality there. It looks like he checks up just a little bit. The 5 checks up. The 41 gets into the back of him. And more chaos ensues there. 42 involved. 26 barely sneaks on by. 9 car sneaks on by. So a little bit of some tore up sheet metal here, but they should be able to get them down. Long race, 25 laps down on 250 here for the race. So they'll be able to get down pit road, get some virtual hammers out, bang this stuff out, and hopefully get a decent finish out of it.
Hey, Paul.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if we can back up that replay a little bit more, but the 38 actually had some help before that incident to get him down to the inside. The 9 of Owen Groves got a little contact from behind him from the 16 of John Gahan. Actually sent the 38 around first, and then when the 38 gets going, that's where all the calamity ensues with him in the 42. So it was almost 2 incidents happening at the same time. The first one I don't think brought the yellow out. The second one definitely did.
Yeah, we'll back it up again, and you're exactly right. See the 9 car gets a little piece of a taste of it, sends him on around. No damage there. The 9 gets some nose damage there, and that's when the 38 kind of comes back up into the track, into the 42 car, and then collects everything that we saw there. So, good call, Tim Terry.
And speaking of my excitement, I'm that guy at the racetrack that has a beer in his hand and points all the damn time at something that's going on. That's how I am as we go back racing here at Lanier. And speaking of excitement, it's still heating up front as we get single file throughout. But my favorite paint scheme of Sam Rogers in that 12, that flex seal machine under fire from Ashton Tucker to 32.
Definitely wins Creative Paint Scheme of the Night award. The Flex Seal Flex guy all over the hood of that number 12 car. He's able to win that battle, and now the 32 machine fighting on the outside line. That's Ashton Tucker. He's got the 18 machine of Josh Langell to his inside, and there we see it, guys. The 30. Oh, he tried to use the outside line to his advantage. Almost was able to slide down in front of the 18. The 18 gave him a bit of a nudge, but I think he gave him some room to come back down there. A little incidental contact. No harm, no foul.
Just short track racing here at Lanier as they are single file throughout the field. The next battle will be the 80 of Ethan Miller. Chris Roman, the 39, has him in his crosshairs. So caution is out, Kyle, as we have an incident further in the back, I believe. Trying to see exactly what may have happened. Possibly the 16 involved. I'm not exactly sure on that one.
That's what I see, Wes. Looks like the 16 and John Gahan had a little bit of help coming off at turn number 4. The 89 car of Conrad Murphy getting into the left rear portion of that machine, spins him around to the inside wall, and caution number 3 flies here on lap number 31.
The 6 machine of Gahan gets just the slightest tap from Conrad Murphy, and this shows you into these cars. It doesn't take much. All it takes is that slightest tap to send you around, but with it being a short track, your speeds are not that high. 16 car, rather, not the 6 of John Gahan. It's the 16. But it doesn't take much to send these cars around, but you're at low speeds, so good chance you're not going to get too much damage.
Yeah, just working through the Shed Life Shed Movers instant replay here. It was one of those kind of slow, lazy spins there, so it took us a second to find it on the tapes here, but we got it. We got it queued up right here. You see the 16 car just gets a little bit shot from the South Point 89 machine, sends him on down to the inside wall, doesn't hit anything, grabs the gear, waits for the cars to get on by, and spins himself around. It's going to be restarting in the tail end of the field. Looks like he's going to be P24 right now. 27 drivers still on the racetrack, 25 of those still on the lead lap. So still lots of racing to go here at Lanier.
Indeed, we do. Working caution number 3 here on lap number 35, giving us 215 laps to go. Once we hit the stripe here, we won't be going green, won't be doubling up just quite yet. Or actually, we are doubling them up as I scroll towards the front of the field. So we will go green flag racing here at the completion of lap number 36. It is still Craig McDonald out in front of the field. Corey Hall is still second. Danny Chisholm, Ryan Messer, Sam Rogers, your top 5 as we get ready for the restart. Things a little stacked up here. Corey Hall tried to get the jump on race leader Craig McDonald. That did not work, but he was able to recover from his mistake quickly and still falls in line in position number 2. Ryan Messer goes to work once again on the top side. He may have the advantage on Danny Chisholm this time. Oh, he gets the wall there on the front stretch.
7 and the 1 just keep on finding each other as they make contact coming out of 2. The 1 bounces off Chisholm, and then the wall giving the position to Chisholm.
Trouble behind them, West. The 12 machine of Sam Rogers has spun. He has gone around and collected multiple other cars with him. The 57 machine is involved. We have the 78 car of John Fitzpatrick is involved. Surprisingly, that wasn't bigger than what it was starting at the front of the field and being in the racing groove. Still 5 or 6 cars piled in, but that could have been a lot worse.
Definitely could have, but I think just a little bit of Flex Seal on that car, and he'll be ready to rock and roll.
Gonna have to get some sort of sponsorship deal worked out with Flex Seal, but we're seeing the 32 to 12 running nose to tail. A little bit of a shot from the 18. The 34 gives a shot to the 18 as he checks up, and calamity ensues. Cars on the inside line piling into the cars that are kind of blocking the racing groove right there, right down on the low side of the apron. So tough break for those guys. Again, a little bit of damage, nothing crazy. There's a Klondike car there. That's kind of neat. No real damage or anything like that to speak of, so that's definitely good news for these drivers.
Oh, I got a question for you.
I got an answer, brother.
You do for a Klondike bar?
I think the question is, what wouldn't I do for a Klondike bar?
Boy. All right, and we are pacing the field one more time here at Lanier National Speedway. And again, cautions breed cautions. Before that initial caution came out, these drivers got into a rhythm that was looking really smooth. Had a great look of a long green flag run, and all it took was one mishap to throw a wrench into that plan. But all it's going to take, Kyle, is maybe 6-7 green flag laps here, everybody to get back into that rhythm, and we could see that potential long green flag run.
Yeah, without a doubt, these guys now, they're starting to get the early race flaws, and that's usually what you see here with some of these longer distance races. Guys maybe getting a little over aggressive at the start, trying to figure out where they fit in line and fit in with the rest of their competitors. Then usually once things kind of relax a little bit, some of the guys get eliminated throughout some of these early crashes. Then we can start to log some laps and really get some green flag runs in. And, of course, that'll create some interesting strategy moves and a whole lot more. We are back to green flag racing here on lap number 44. And as soon as I say it, the caution flag flies once again. Number 4 is out. Trying to see who is in trouble with this one. We've got the 42 Mark Williams machine slow on the front stretch. He got himself turned around. Actually, looks like he did it all by himself.
He did. It looks like coming to that restart, he may have just gunned it a little too hard there on the cold tires and spun it out, coming out of 4 to take the green, and never even got to cross the start-finish line. We saw it before we saw it. Just a little bit of damage there to the Mark Williams. Spin. Should be able to rack them back up here and try it one more time. But Lanier National Speedway is definitely breeding for cautions here tonight.
Yeah, I believe the term that we would describe the 42's wreck there was slightly given her too much, and just kind of spun himself around, as you saw there on the Shed Life Shed Movers instant replay.
Get her, he's digging like a junior.
Well, the whole job is this early on. You're only supposed to slightly give her, but he gave her just a little bit too hard, and then he spun himself around. It's a technical term. Look it up.
With the giver, got to getting her and just gave her too much.
Yeah, and then calamity ensued.
I'm gonna have to get to my boys in Palaca, Florida, that speak that language, so they can translate it for me. Giving her and getting her, gave her, and around went the 42. And these cars are making one more lap around here. Again, 250 laps here at Lanier National Speedway. Your leader so far, and he has led it from flag to flag, has Craig McDonald, Corey Hall second, third Ryan Messer, fourth Danny Chisholm. And Kyle, I think that's going to be the storyline. Those two bumpers and doors and panels have met each other time and time again, lap after lap here.
Yeah, you can see some of the battle wounds on the number 1 and number 87 machines from these restarts. It's been fantastic to watch them, but now for the first time, Ryan Messer is going to restart from third, and Danny Chisholm will have that outside line. We'll see who gets the advantage this time. Green flag flies again. Same story as before. Craig McDonald off to a great restart, clears the 83. The 83 clears the battle going on behind them, and now with the roles reversed, Danny Chisholm on the outside. Ryan Messer pushes up the racetrack. They nearly make contact once again. Chisholm has the spot at the line, but they are still even through the center of 1 and 2.
Driving here by Messer and Chisholm, both battling for that third position as they hold side by side, and watching from the catbird seat as a Nick Codner in the 54, waiting for one of these drivers to slip up so he could possibly move into that position, but they're able to work it out, give the position now solely to Messer.
So it looks like the majority of the top 10 drivers going single file. They will stay single file as the caution flag has flown. Yet again, we have multiple cars crashing on the front straightaway. I see the 41 car involved, the 89 Conrad Murphy is involved again. Sam Rogers in the 12 gets a piece of this. Not exactly sure where it happened, but lots of cars involved here. Looks like it actually starts with possibly the 9 and the 78.
Yeah, it looks like possibly the 78 and the 39 initially make contact. Chris Roma in the 39 and John Fitzpatrick in the 78 going through 3 and 4. The 39 washes up into Fitzpatrick, the 78, and just a chain reaction after that. And the definition of ARCA braking is displayed here at Lanier Speedway in this incident.
Yeah, essentially what went on there, as you can see, there was a bunch of cars that just kind of, well, the lanes were blocked, and they still tried to get on through them. Unfortunately, not able to do such a thing in the simulation world or in the real world. So, tough break for everybody involved. Looks like Fitzpatrick is going to be restarting 26th on the field. A lot of damage in the front of that race car, as well as the 12 and a couple of other guys that are back here too. Lots of damage, and still quite a long way to go here at Lanier.
Kyle, a lot of drivers here kind of getting recycled, so to say, in the beginning of this race. Some fast drivers showing up front, but some of these other drivers just kind of getting banged around. We're starting to see the same names time and time again. It's not until long that their cars will start to show more than battle wounds. You're going to see some power loss from these drivers in. Leading to that, you may see some cars dropping out of the race, but right now we're close to still full field as we still have about 26, 28 cars in this race right now.
Yeah, still a very healthy number of cars out here on the racetrack. We are beyond the 50 lap mark, so we are halfway through our first 100 laps here of this 250 lap feature. Been the Craig McDonald show thus far. Him and Corey Hall have stayed at the front. We've seen some great racing with Ryan Messer and Danny Chisholm. After one of the previous cautions there, Nick Codner has worked his way into the top 5. Ashton Tucker, your points leader, Mike Rhino, is currently in 7th. So that'll be fun to see him continue his charge through the field as he started 10th.
Green flag is out for the baby blue and black Craig McDonald machine, and that 98 as he still has led this race from flag to flag. And now Messer trying to battle for that second position, trying to take it from Corey Hall. We haven't seen anybody really challenge Corey yet in this race, Kyle, and give second place to Messer.
Ryan Messer makes good of that first challenge for Corey Hall, drops Corey back to third, and now Danny Chisholm is going to follow the open door and try to move himself into third and drop that 83 car back to P4. It will happen. They will drop single file. Sounds like something happened in the back there.
Fitzpatrick, I'm sorry there, Kyle. He got spun coming off turn 4 by himself. Ate the inside wall, quick 360 and kept going. Of course, we are still green. Oh, the 38 goes around, and he gets T-boned by Mark White in the 79. Caution is back out here.
Travis Roma getting collected here once again. The number 5 machine also involved. That is Craig Tully. Lap number 59, or lap 60 rather. We go under the yellow lemon lights once again. We'll send things on over to Paul to check that one.
Hey, Paul, and as you're watching that all starts coming out of turn 4 as the 79 gets turned, gets it back going, and then the 18 and the 38 make contact after that. That was actually coming out of 2, not 4. I apologize.
Yeah, guys, as the replay's about to roll, I just wanted to hop in here, and you guys kept talking about the 83 of Corey Hall, the 87 of Danny Chisholm, along with that 98 of Craig McDonald. Keep in mind, they are all Corey Hall Racing teammates, so they might be counting each other down on restarts and trying to work together up front. We're only 64 laps into this race. I think they're trying to micromanage it a little bit. Ryan Messer's not a part of that team. Nick Codner is not a part of that team, so I feel like those guys are going to be, if not a little more aggressive, they might be a little more apt to use that bumper a little bit more. But, Paul, we've had some cautions so far here this evening as we work lap number 65.
That we have, and we just saw the East Shed Left Shed Movers instant replay exactly as Tim brought it to us. Might be some guys kind of working together to try and get the benefit of the doubt for their team there. So maybe we'll see that work out just a little bit better as the laps go down. We've had a handful of cautions here so far tonight. Taking a quick peek, looks like 7 cautions for 35 laps, just about half the distance so far. But once we get everything kind of squared away and get these guys up and running, we'll have some green flag racing.
And we have Samantha Penny on the Facebook says, go Mike Rhino. So we got a Mike Rhino fan watching there. So hello, Samantha. Thank you for watching. And teammates are a huge positive, a huge plus in racing. Unless your teammate jumps into your race car, forgets to shut it off, and kills the battery. Over to you, Kyle.
Gee, I wonder where that would have happened. Doesn't seem to ring a bell to me. But I digress. Off to racing we go. It is Craig McDonald once again on the point. Ryan Messer got off to a pretty good restart there. He's able to hang with the 98 car through the 1 and 2, trying to fight his way to the outside. Not quite able to make it work just yet. He's still hanging tough on the corner panel, but that's about all he's able to get to right now.
3-car race for the lead here. Messer giving the most trouble to Craig McDonald as he's seen all race as the one of Messer bounces off the wall coming out of 2 onto the backstretch. That opens the door for Danny Chisholm now. Again, these two are finding each other and the caution is out. One more time here at Langley as it looks like the 16 of John Gahan is involved one more time.
Indeed, he is kind of a repeat of his first ordeal. This time it comes off of the nose of the number 80 machine, or that's the double zero machine of David Wooldridge. David Wooldridge getting into the back of the 16, almost a carbon copy of his first incident, gets tagged coming off at turn number 4 and loops it around on the front stretch.
I'll tell you what, that becomes really annoying when you're trying your best to run your race and it just seems like you end up on the wrong end of the spin time and time again. What you got for me?
Yeah, you nailed it right on the head there, and you see the 16, just like the last spin. He was able to just kind of spin around, didn't hit anything. Showed some great car control. Didn't hit anything, didn't hit any damage, anything like that. Just kind of spun around, grabbed a gear, got rocking and rolling. Going to be restarting here. Looks like P24, the last car on the lead lap. And taking a look at timing and scoring, it appears we have 27 cars still in this race. With the lucky dog there going to the number 5 of Craig Tully. 25 cars on the lead lap.
So I believe, Kyle, we said we started with, was it 37 cars, 34 cars, 33, something like that is what we gridded with to begin. Only a handful of cars falling out here as we are on at lap 73. So that's really not all that bad given the size of this track and the action we've seen.
No, not at all. It looks like we had 32 cars that took the initial green flag to start this race. And as mentioned, we have 23 cars on the lead lap, right? Well, actually, that'll be 24 as Craig Tully just went around to take his free pass award. So he'll be able to join the lead lap once again. So that'll give us 24 cars on the lead lap, closing into about a quarter of the way through this 250 lap race, and still seeing some good numbers there amongst our competitors. This battle up in the top 5 has been really fun to watch. Ryan Messer has been an absolute show all the way through, trying to use the outside line to make things work, bouncing off of some of his competitors, bouncing off the outside wall. We'll see how aggressive he gets here on this restart as he lines up third right behind leader Craig McDonald.
Craig McDonald hasn't seen any pressure until that last restart for Messer as we are back green flag racing. The 87 of Chisholm does not get the restart that he maybe wanted. That's going to allow Messer.
Yes, we get trouble here in turn 2. The 83 of Corey Hall has been turned around and made a hard contact into the outside wall in turn 2 head on. He did get some help. He tried to save that number 83 machine, but was not able to do so. Looks like it came from the front bumper of the 32 car of Ashton Tucker. They barely made contact, but it was enough to upset the 83 car, and that's going to put a big dent into his night.
Be a little bit of a code of net there, and barely, if any, contact, but that's all it took from the 32 machine of Ashton Tucker. Not exactly what we expected to see to happen to Corey Hall tonight, but that is the first incident we've seen happen so far up front.
Yeah, and you can see he almost saved it, but just overcorrected just enough and sent that car onto the outside wall. Lots of heavy damage there. Looking at it back live, a lot of heavy damage in the front of that 83 machine. Going to be restarting in the back. Don't know if he's going to be able to get any of that damage fixed. You can see the 5 car right in front of Henley Hardy's machine. Definitely damage on that car as well. So a lot of cautions going on early on, and hopefully we can get this stuff sorted out.
You know, Corey Hall is one of the faster guys that we get the call here from time to time. There's a few drivers here that are notable names that we see popping up often, and Corey Hall, I know, cannot be happy about that. But still a long way to go, Kyle. He's got enough time to, if the car's not too mangled up, be able to work his way back up and fight for a top 5. But still, your leader is Craig McDonald. But each and every one of these restarts, he's got more pressure behind him.
Yeah, having Corey Hall in the back of the field now, that'll give us something to watch as this race progresses, see what he's able to do with that heavy front end damage and where he will end up later on in the evening. We really had this. The battle up front has been great. These guys have been doing enough battling and position swapping to kind of change things up. That incident there is going to change our top 5 lineup. We now have Jordan Rushton in the number 33 car in position number 5 for the first time tonight, and now Nick Codner gets to restart on the outside of row number 2, so he moves up to 4th place. Danny Chisholm here, he's trying to get himself a better restart on race leader Craig McDonald. He messed it up a little bit. He's able to give enough back. I don't think he's going to get a penalty right there, but he's still side by side with Craig McDonald going into 3.
I heard of a penalty yet here, Kyle, as he is still clean and green. Hanging it out on the top shelf is Danny Chisholm, trying to work that outside line, holding Craig McDonald honest to that bottom, but there is Messer. McDonald now is clear. Now it's Messer and Chisholm battling it out in a
Ryan Messer slides up just a little bit, leading on the 87 car. Chisholm getting a good run coming off the top of turn number 2. We've kind of seen that throughout the early stages of this race, Wes. These guys are able to find something just for a brief second coming off the turns on the top, but that bottom line still seems to be the preferred place to be.
It is, and looking further back through this pack, there's the 3-wide action at the exit of 2 and 4 as we have one sideways, hard into the wall. Spinning is the 57. The caution is out for John Baron as I was speaking. Some 3-wide action further back in the pack, some really good clean action. John was just a part of that a corner before, but this time he gets a little bit of help from the 17 going into 3 of Martin Landry, and gets smacked one more time by Chris Roma, which will send him around into the opening of the outer pit row, I guess you could say, or the entry into the track.
That'll happen big time. 3 wide racing. See the 57 and 12 and the 71. 71 gives a little bit of a tap to the 57. 38 gets a piece of it. Sends the 57 almost outside of the track, but able to grab a gear, spin on around, and take that black and green Fury machine back to, looks like P24 is going to be where he's going to be restarting.
You know, that brought back a lot of memories of Mike Harmon and Bristol. Remember that?
Oh, of course, definitely nowhere near as dramatic as that crash, but you know, you have those wall openings like that, and that's unfortunately the negative circumstances that happen. Fortunately, there, John Braun was able to keep it out of any wall openings. Just kind of parked it right next to where the ambulance resides there on the exit of turn number 4. And a pretty simple crash like that, you don't need the ambulance. Just throw the lights on, let them know the caution's out, and get in all back rolling and in it to shape.
We have our neighborhood Canadian here with us. Tim, you got us? I think Tim may have stepped away, but now I'm curious, is it Baron or is it Byron? If I'm assuming he's a Canadian gentleman, it's Baron.
I think that's what I've heard our good buddy Dylan Langell pronounce it in some of our previous work with some of these Canadian drivers in the Tim's Corner Motorsports special events. So I guess we'll go for that for now, and once Tim decides to pop a squat back up here with us, we can make that confirmation with him. So lap number 91 will go in the books this time once we see the green silk go back to the atmosphere. It is still Craig McDonald leading. Ryan Messer is now to the outside of row number 1. McDonald spins the rear tires trying to get it going off that restart. He's able to hang on, but Ryan Messer is dead even with him on the entry to turn number 1. McDonald trying to pinch him up. There's a little bit of contact. You saw the sparks fly off the outside wall from the number 1 car, but Messer not giving up. Now he hits the wall again from the 98 car.
Messer extremely loose coming out of the corners, trying to stay off of Craig McDonald. He does a great job of it. Still trying to battle on the top shelf here, trying to get that lead. He's not able to do so. Now he's in defensive mode. Danny Chisholm back looking on the low side, using that apron through 1 and 2, trying to get back into second place here for Messer.
Danny Chisholm and Ryan Messer cannot find a way to separate themselves. Now Messer makes an aggressive move down to the bottom, slams the door shut on Danny Chisholm, and that allows the 54 of Nick Conder to ride up right to the back bumper of the 87 car. Just behind these guys, a nice battle going on for position number 6. That's the 9 car of Glenn Groves and your points leader Mike Rhino in the 34 car. Looking at the point standings heading into this one, there's really not a lot of pressure on Mike Rhino to lose this championship, but you know he wants to do the best that he can and end his championship season off on a good note.
As he does, a championship driver for sure here, as he's just trying to keep it clean and green and get the best finish that he can, as that battle is still heating up, as Rhino is trying to hold off Glenn Groves there in that 9 machine, trying to hold on to that 6th position, as he sets Jordan Rushton into his crosshairs, trying to break into the top 5. And up front, Messer hits the wall. Messer gets sideways off the corner. The number 1 of Messer still hard into the wall. Into 1, Ryan Messer off the pace, ladies and gentlemen. Second place, drops all the way back to the rear of the field.
We stay green flag racing. We've seen that number 1 car drive his heart out here in these opening 100 laps, and it unfortunately has bit him for the worst. He drops all the way back to position number 19, and no caution flag to help him regroup at all. He has to go immediately on the offensive. He's trying to get around Mark Williams in the 42 car right now, but he is going to have his work cut out for him if he wants to get back up to the front.
More beneficial if he would have spun that thing all the way out, so he would have gotten that caution, but instead he did a wonderful job of saving that machine, and now he's stuck all the way back, mirrored in 18th position. So if he wants even a sniff of McDonald and that lead, he has a long way to go, and he's going to need help to get there.
Without a doubt, that's allowed the top 5 to really start fighting it out here. Mike Rhino has cracked the top 5 for the first time. He's moved his way into position number 4. Josh Langell in the 18 car, he's trying to battle underneath that 34 machine and take that position away. Jordan Rushton has dropped back to 6th, and then the caution flag will fly and ruin everything that I was trying to get a hold of right there. The 26 is sideways in at turn number 4, and I believe that is the 00 car again also involved.
The 00, not as big as I first thought it was going to be, but Brandon Toman in the 26, gets turned by David Woldridge. That's the second time we've called a Woldridge name of a driver possibly going off of his his right front bumper, and around with the 26 as Paul was getting us that replay.
Backing everything up now, the Shed Life Shed Movers instant replay, and we can see, well, we can't see anything yet. There we go. Hit the right button. That'll do. Taking a look at the double zeros, already found Calamity just a little bit. You can see the right side of that car has already been caved in, kind of heads into the corner. Back behind the battle between the 78 and the 26, and looks like he gets into the back of the 26 just a hair. Doesn't really need to hit too much. You see the 26 hits the inside wall, and looks like the double zero actually gets hung up on the fender of the 26 car as he straightens out, grabs the gear, and rolls on away. So just kind of a slow reset there. I believe it looks like both of those drivers lost at least a lap. So tough break for those guys. You can see the 89 just trying to skate on by. A lot of tore up race cars towards the back of this pack as we approach halfway.
All right, we're going to get a very, very quick word here, if we can, with Ricky Arbo. Let me see if he's available. Oh, Ricky is not available, so we may speak with Ricky. He's helped put this together here for us. We may try to get a word with him after this. But shout out to Ricky Arbo, allowing us to call the action for him tonight on this beautiful Wednesday night, as here in about 10 laps or so, we will be approaching halfway.
Made a mention of it a few minutes ago, how Mike Rhino's championship hopes looking very good, as this is the season finale for the Maritime iRacing League. He entered this event with a 114-point advantage over Jake Goodwin in the point standings. We haven't mentioned Jake Goodwin's name at all here throughout this first portion of the race, but he is currently sitting in position number 8. He's going to have to hope that something happens to that 34 car, if there's even any hope of him to win this championship. It's Mike Rhino's to lose at this point, if it's even possible to lose. We are back underway here. Craig McDonald, Danny Chisholm, and Nick Conner dropped down pretty early. A nice, clean, even, safe restart for these guys up front. Oh, we got trouble, though. Glenn Groves gets a little sideways. He's able to hang on, and now he spins it again, coming off of turn number 2. He had the car gathered up, lost control, and gets spun around once again off of turn number 2. He made contact with the 80 machine as he dumped it again. That was the 80 of Ethan Miller. Mark Williams got a little piece of him, and then the 12 machine of Sam Rogers also catching a piece of the front end of the 9 Fury machine of Glenn Groves. That is a tough break for Glenn. He restarted that last restart inside the top 10. Now he'll find himself at the back of the field.
Looking at it right now, like you said, caught a piece of the wall and then came down, caught a piece of the 24, saved it, but then lost it again. It looks like just didn't have the tires attached to the pavement at that point. Gets sent on around. Ooh, looks like the 12 car just barely caught a piece of him as he was trying to get around him, but definitely tore up the front of that race car even more. Starting to look like a modified almost at the front of that car with the wheels sticking out.
All right, so tough break there for the 9 of Glenn Groves. He did a wonderful job with that first attempt of saving that machine, and then it just kind of went around there on him. So, man, he sure the heck tried. It is what it is, though. You got a long way to go. He's going to get the service done to his Fury machine, and we're going to get back green flag racing here. And man, ever since a Messer went to the back, it seems like Craig McDonald has a little bit less pressure on him. And for the Ryan Messer fans, he's dropped all the way to 22nd position. When that accident first happened, he dropped to 18th, but we do believe he did pit on that last caution prior to this one, so that may be why he's a little bit further back. But hey, 4 new Hoosier, Goodyears, whatever they run, that might be the key to get back to the front.
He's also off of the lead lap due to whatever it was that he decided to do. So now, not only is he fighting to get back to the front of the field, but he's also fighting for the free pass award. Having some cars coming off at pit road here, we'll give you a rundown of your top 10 really quickly before we go back to green. It is still Craig McDonald and Danny Chisholm, your front row. Nick Codner, 3rd. Jordan Rushton, 4th. And then Jake Goodwin popping into the top 5 for the first time tonight. Ashton Tucker, 6th. Corey Hall back up to 7th. Chris Roma, Roger Down, and Travis Roma, your top 10 as we go back to green here at the completion of lap number 116.
Showing the way out of Tour 2 is a Craig McDonald with Danny Chisholm. Just kind of, I think he's just trying to bide his time here. He's going to give him a couple shots here to try to get the advantage as the caution comes out, and that's why he's just abiding his time. Mark Williams in the 42 again involved. It looks like this time he gets a little bit of help from the 41 machine of Robert Lee, gives him the 4th and 10 punt, going through 3 and 4, and that will bring out our 8th, 9th caution.
One more time here with the Shed Life Shed Movers instant replay. Like you said, a little bit of help there with the 42 involved in another wreck, and almost comes up in there in the racing groove, but grabs the gear, spins on around, and gets going again here. Going to be last car on the lead lap, which that's going to be 19 cars on the lead lap, 26 cars still on track here at the Lanier Speedway. Take a quick update for the cautions. We've had 13 cautions for 64 laps, and no lead changes. Craig McDonald leading them flag to flag here so far. Fastest lap is a 13.215, and I believe that belongs to our leader, Craig McDonald.
Well, no surprise that Craig is turning the fast lap around here at Lanier National Speedway, as he has proven to have the strongest machine, but for how long? And also, when does Chisholm use that bumper cut?
Well, we still have a lot of racing left to go. We aren't even to the halfway point yet. We're closing in here within the next few laps. But it's also worth mentioning, too, what Tim Terry told us here just a little while ago. Those two guys are teammates. Yes, this is the season finale. You want to end the season as positively as you can, and there's no better way to do that than to go to victory lane. But you still want to race your teammate the right way and do so with class. So far we've seen these two play with each other very, very nicely. We know how fierce these competitors are. Danny Chisholm, no stranger to victory lane into the front of these fields. Craig McDonald, doing his best to cap off a perfect night here. He's led all 121 laps thus far. He's trying to go flag to flag here, but now he's got a lot of great competition behind him. It's going to be tough here in the second half to do that.
All right, and we are back green flag racing here at Lanier, as they are side by side barreling into 1 and 2. With the hole shot, though, is Craig McDonald. Now the battle for second, Danny Chisholm and Nick Codner, a name that we haven't said much here tonight. He's been quietly preying on the drivers in front of him, and he works underneath Chisholm through 3 and 4. And the caution is out again, Kyle. This time the 9 is involved, as was the 5 of Craig Tolley. It looks like Craig Tolley just it was actually a little bit of a chain reaction. The 12 got a bumper from the 34 of Mike Rhino, our points leader, and he gets into the 18, who got sideways of Josh Langell, and then Langell just overcorrected it and got into the 5 of Tolley, sent him around. And then Kyle, I'm not exactly sure why, but Glenn Groves, further back, not even close to it, just drives it into the wall, entering turn 1 completely unassisted, beating up that car even more than what it already was.
Maybe that's just some frustration out of the number 9 with all of these caution flags. That is caution number 14, and we are just at the halfway mark. So we're on pace for a 28 caution race. That would be absolutely mind-blowing if that is what happens there. Did see that the 34 car of Mike Rano made a pit stop that last caution, so obviously he was trying to work his way back up through the field. Got a little too excited on it, made some contact there, and is the cause here for caution number 14. He will have to be sent to the rear for that involvement here coming up before we go back to green flag. But as mentioned, he came into this race with a 114-point advantage over Jake Goodwin. Goodwin just able to crack into the top 5 for the first time. That previous restart, he's dropped back to 7th place. But even still at the back of the field right now, we only have 16 cars on the lead lap, which is just a handful of spots behind where Mike Rhino is running right now. So a little bit of a mistake there from the 34 car. He's still in good shape, should be all right to be able to continue on without too many issues, and he'll try to recover here moving forward.
All right, so Glenn Groves having the issues we've seen him having, possibly just frustrated. Mike Rhino has been asked to go to the tail of the field after being deemed at fault of there. We got Camden Caudle saying, "Go Ryan Messer." Thank you, Messer. I'm sorry, Camden. thank you for watching. Hopefully your favorite driver here in that number 1 machine has got a wave around. Hopefully he can work its way back up as he will restart here in the 16th as we are back green flag racing here at Lanier, and look at Chisholm trying to work that outside. Battle rages on further on in the back. They're trying to work out these positions, some side-by-side battles. Right now, the battle is on for third. It's Codner now and Ashton Tucker. Ashton Tucker, they work side-by-side coming into one. Codner on the bottom, Tucker on the outside for third. Tucker not exactly able to get that high line in, as we've seen him try time and time again. We've got a car stop in the bottom there. Not exactly sure what was going on there, but no harm, no foul. He is out of the racing groove, so we stay green. And now Tucker's still stuck on the outside. Give the 54 Codner third position. Ooh, Tucker gets a shot from Rushton into 3. We stay single file throughout the majority of the pack here. As it looks like right now, Craig McDonald is just in a world of his own, Paul. As long as this race is, when's the last time you saw caution's out. I was saying, when's the last time we've seen a domination like this? But we got another car around, got another sort of a big one here. Chris Roma possibly involved. Ooh, the 24 of Jake Goodwin involved here, Kyle.
Yeah, unfortunate circumstances here. Looks like it started with the 24 of Jake Goodwin making some contact with the 83 of Corey Hall as they entered turn number 3. Both of those cars get side. Well, wow, what a great save. Oh, nope. Jake Goodwin almost saved it, but then made a little slight contact with the outside wall there. Almost had that number 24 Napa Auto Parts car facing the right way, but unable to hang on and made some contact with the outside wall in the front stretch.
Corey Hall, after that incident, while he was running third early in the race, worked his way all the way back up to 6th position before that incident began, and now he's going to have to do it all over again, Kyle, as he's going down pit road. This should knock him out of the top 10. All right, so leader is on pit road. This is the first time that we've seen Craig McDonald not up a front. He actually relinquishes the lead to Ashton Tucker in the 32. This is what gets interesting about these long races where pit stops are basically mandatory. The leader, Craig McDonald, who nobody's been able to get around, now he's going to have to try to work his way up through this field. Kyle, now it's time to pull these belts tight.
Yeah, it'll be very fun to see what these guys are going to be able to do with some traffic behind them. Danny Chisholm also taking this opportunity to grab 4 fresh rubbers underneath of his 87 machine. So the 98 of McDonald, the 87 of Chisholm coming down pit road. We also have a few other drivers on pit road. Chris Roma came down. Travis Roma came down. Looking through the group here, Corey Hall was on pit road. Nick Codner was on pit road. So multiple drivers running up towards the front of the field, making pit stops. And as you mentioned, that'll hand over the race lead to Ashton Tucker for the first time. That beautiful-looking number 32 car will lead the field to the green flag here at the completion of lap number 140.
Our pace truck is down, and we are back to green flag racing here at Lanier with a new leader. Ashton Tucker is your leader.
Wes, we got more trouble. The 5 car got tagged and spun around immediately off of that restart into turn number 1. I'm not exactly sure who it was that got him. It was the 18 car of Josh Langell. Made some contact with the 5, slid the 5 up into the 57. They all pile in. Mike Rhino's involved. Craig McDonald, the 98 car, he got a pretty good piece of that one. That was a pretty wild crash off of turn 2.
Stop there, Kyle, at the end, or a roadblock, I should say. Everybody just kind of stopped. Just a traffic jam. Luckily, we didn't see too many ARCA breaks. It's all right. You guys figure this out. We'll get rocking and rolling. So, Paul, do we have a record for cautions of races that we've called, or have we already eclipsed that record?
I believe we've eclipsed it a couple of times. But just saw the replay as Kyle called it there from the chopper. Just about halfway. Actually, I think we're just a little bit better than halfway.
We had here tonight, unfortunately, but shout out to Paul Showtime Strickland Jr. bringing you this great production that you see and getting us replays and getting us the action. So Shout out to Paul. Thank you, Kyle Young, as well, up here in the booth with me. Thank you to all our affiliating sponsors, Edgewater Screens, AWS Roofing, Shed Life Shed Movers, and everybody else that helps us make this happen. Are you having fun, Kyle?
It's definitely been a war of attrition so far here throughout these first 144 laps. I think we're starting to get to the point here where race control going to sit some guys down. Josh Langell was just given a disqualification. Not sure if that was his third incident or not. I did see Ricky Arbo jump into our chat here and explain that 3 caused yellows is a park. So I'm wondering if that is what happened with Josh Langell. So obviously not how he wanted to end his season, but he is done for the evening.
All right, I apologize there if I talked over anybody. My microphone turned itself down without telling me that it turned its volume down, so I thought everybody was quiet. I apologize for that.
So it looks like we'll get back to racing here with 104 laps to go. It is still the 32 of Ashton Tucker in the lead. Ethan Miller is second. Sam Rogers, Ryan Messer back to P4. And even though he was involved in that last caution there, Wes, Craig McDonald has already worked his way back up to P5. Danny Chisholm right behind him.
Safe to say that Craig McDonald is the pick for tonight.
He's looking pretty damn good. I wish I would have put him on my DraftKings team if this race had a DraftKings event. Fantastic run out of that 98 car. Ashton Tucker got himself off to a really good restart. He's looking strong out in front right now. He's got that beat-up Flex Seal number 12 battling behind him for position number 2, trying to get around Ethan Miller in the 80. He does so. Miller is stuck on the top side, and here come those fresh tires underneath the 98 and the 87 cars. They will file underneath the 80, and it won't be long before they are underneath the 12. They do it right on command.
Kyle, the story of Ryan Messer with the calamity that he felt coming out of turn 1 about 20. Oh, and speaking of Ryan Messer, Roma sends Ryan Messer around from the 38. Ryan Messer battling his way back up through the field, gets taken out like last week's trash, sent to the back. Oh, man, tough break for Ryan Messer.
Just as he was basically finished recovering himself from his earlier issues, he finds himself facing the wrong way on a one-way street and will now have to go back to the rear of the field and have to make that charge all over.
Ah, man, I've been there before where you get sent to the back for one reason or another. You work your tail off to get back up to the front or at least begin that journey, and something just sent you right to the back. So, the best thing I can relate it to is the old Mario games when you would get so far in a level and then you forget to save and you have to go all the way back to the beginning of that level. Ryan Messer's going all the way back to level 1.
Fortunately, though, he's not going to lose a lap unless he comes down to pit road, so the worst he will be is in 15th place. Still not what he wants to do. Lots of damage on the front end of that number 1 machine, but that is unfortunately the card that he has been dealt here. We're now less than 100 laps to go, currently running lap number 153, and the 98 machine of Craig McDonald has worked his way back to the race lead. It looks like the 32 of Ashton Tucker brought his machine down pit road.
Yeah, seeing a couple different cars coming down pit road here. John Baron went down pit road. Jake Goodwin, Ethan Miller, a couple others making their way down to pit road here to get some fresh tires and make a final run here as we have eclipsed the 100 to go mark as Travis Roma, of course, going down pit road. I believe he may have got the end of longest line penalty for causing that incident. But back up front is Craig McDonald, and next to him will be that beautiful Flex Seal machine. It makes me want to go out and buy that rubber stuff and throw something in the water and see if it floats. Flex Seal on board with that number 12 as we're about to go green.
I wonder what that must make you feel if you're Corey Hall right now staring at the Flex Seal guy looking back at you on the rear TV panel of that number 12 car. Either way, the green flag flies. 95 laps to go here. Craig McDonald off to a monstrous restart. Danny Chisholm clears for position 2. Sam Rogers trying to fight his best on the top side of 3 and 4, but Corey Hall, he has made another nice recovery after getting collected in not 1 but 2 incidents tonight. He is trying to fight his way back into the top 3. Nick Codner also coming back through the field as he made a pit stop the same lap that the 87 and the 98 cars did. And then you have your points leader, Mike Ryan, right behind him in 6th.
all body slamming the 12 of Rogers there, putting a couple dents in that driver's side door. He might need some flex seal as Rogers in that 12. He's got to be on really old tires, Kyle, as he's completely sideways on the exit of these corners. The guy on the back is screaming for a reason. It's because he might come around.
Yeah, that 12 machine of Rogers really starting to struggle. He finds a home in between the 54 and the 34, but I believe even Mike Rhino is still on fresher equipment than the 12, and it also doesn't help that Rogers just bounced that car off of the outside wall on the front stretch. So Sam Rogers starting to struggle here. He is in position number 5, but is trying to get his footing back underneath him and stop the decline while he...
Kyle, it's interesting to watch how the cream typically rises to the top in these long races. These races, especially these 250s, 150 lappers, they tell a story throughout the race. And you get to watch this story be told in the story of Craig McDonald, the story of Corey Hall being taken out while running in the top 5 and working his way back up there. Danny Chisholm driving the tires off his machine to get to the lead and yet being able to get there. The stories have been told as more beating and banging in the back as John Kahan, by the way, has turned into a pinball as a caution is out one more time. But it's not John Kahan.
Yeah, Gahan was able to save it. The 21 car of Roger down, however, he finds himself parked on the inside wall of the front stretch. He also had a little bit of help there in 3 and 4. He got clipped by the number 79 car in the center of 3 and 4. That is Mark White. Mark White currently 24th, 14 laps down, and made contact with the 14th place and lead lap running car. Or no, he's actually off of the lead lap now. But still 1 lap down. A lot of cars that are 1 lap down right now fighting for position. And 13 laps off the pace compared to the 21 car. Gets into the left rear of him. Hits him in the left front to straighten him out. But then it looks like he hit the gas too hard. And the 21 spins it around again. The 38 of Travis Roma made some contact there with the nose. Punched him right in the side of that car. So that's some more damage onto the 38 machine. Boy, what a war of attrition here for the Maritime iRacing League, wrapping up their season. Lots and lots of bent-up sheet metal on these guys, these cars.
There's a few drivers that I feel sorry for in this race, and one of them being Paul, because we know his fingers are hurting right now going back to these replays.
Whoa, time out. When has Paul become a driver of this race?
A few, let's just say competitors. Paul is a competitor. So a few competitors that I feel bad for, and Paul is one of them. The other one, not necessarily a competitor, but the flag man. Like, how bad does your right arm have to hurt after waving the yellow and the green so many times in one race?
Oh, he's going to come out of this flag stand tonight getting totally prepared to arm wrestle The Rock and take him to the house.
I think his arm is going to be so big that he might be able to wrestle a piece of cake from you on your birthday.
What was that episode? I think it was a Simpsons episode where Homer got fancy into arm wrestling and had one super jacked up arm and the other one was just totally still limp and skinny. That's what the flagger's going to look like.
They dodged that cake joke. We are back. Green flag racing as Craig McDonald takes the green flag. He takes a lead from Danny Chisholm. Danny Chisholm, though, holding on to second place. Third, here we go, is Corey Hall. Corey Hall has worked his way back up to the top 3, and he's done it quite aggressively, Kyle. They're 3 wide further back behind them. The 78 and the 32, they make contact almost 4 wide going into 1. They're all able to make it work.
Cars are scattered and sliding all over this 3.38 mile short track of Lanier National Speedway there. Somehow was able to avoid catastrophe, but lots of aggression going on here. Ashton Tucker trying to work his way back through the field. He was right behind all of that and was able to make a nice move to put himself up into position number 7. How about Ryan Messer making a quick recovery? He's back to position number 6. And look at the 39 car of Chris Roma. He is currently running in 5th for the first time tonight.
We're talking about these races telling stories, Kyle, and the Ryan Messer story is one to watch as he bounces off the wall by himself again coming into turn 1. Thought it was going to be deja vu there, but again the cream is rising to the top, but to what avail for him, as it definitely looks like he's on older tires as he slides it around, and the 868th caution is out here at Lanier.
Trouble looks like somewhere in turns 3 and 4, I believe it is the number 5 machine of Craig Tully has gone around. He had some help. He was at the top of a 3-wide battle with Jordan Rushton in the 33 and Ethan Miller in the 80. The 33 and the 5 come together. The 5 goes for a slide and is not able to hang on. Makes a little contact with the 79. He actually does hang on to it. He doesn't spin all the way around, but he was able to correct it. But race control thought that was worthy of a caution, and they threw the yellow flag.
We got a viewer, Randy Titus. He has a question, and you are the stat guy, Mr. Larry McReynolds. He wants to know: are we going to make 125 laps out of 250 under caution? So, how many cautions do we have so far, and how many laps of them? All right, so it looks like we are going to be sitting at 19 cautions for 94 laps. So, Randy, if that is your bet, I would take it to Vegas, buddy, because of the trends that we've seen so far. 19 cautions, 94 laps. I would say they at least have another 5 to 10 in them. So you might be able to see half this race under caution here. We hope not, though. We are hoping for some green flag racing, because I want to see if Danny Chisholm can get around Craig McDonald and see what he can really do if they get side by side.
Developing story for one of our former front runners in this race. The number 32 machine of Ashton Tucker has climbed out of his race car. I didn't really see anything wrong with that car. He just pulled it down into pit road, stopped, and got out. So Ashton Tucker has decided to retire from this event. Getting set for this restart, we currently have 11 cars on the lead lap. That could potentially change, as some of them are on pit road. So we'll update that for you here in just a moment or so. Looks like they will stay on the lead lap as they exit the pits right now. Craig McDonald and Danny Chisholm, they've been the class of the field. They will restart on the front row. Corey Hall has made his way back up to P3. Nick Codner is 4th, and Chris Roma hanging on to a top 5 for the first time. Then we have John Braun, Sam Rogers, Travis Roma, Ryan Messer, and points leader Mike Rhino to round out your top 10. We'll try it again. Restart is out. Green flag flies. Craig McDonald, Danny Chisholm doing what they've done, single filing out immediately, working together as good teammates do. Oh my goodness, the 26 car nearly caused trouble right in front of your leaders. That was Brandon Tobin. He was able to get things settled and out of the way before it did go bad. So good thing on him. We stay green flag racing, single file throughout most of the field.
Called that prematurely. I apologize. I saw that forming and I thought he was about to take out the field. I almost yelled caution, but instead these drivers are doing it for me and making sure that I'm correct on it. As the caution is out one more time here at Lanier Speedway, I'm going to find out who exactly was involved in that one. It looks like, hey, once again, Craig Tolley finds his way. Looks like he spins out all on his own coming out of the corner, but he just hits the wall in the 5. I'm not exactly sure if that's what brought out the caution. If it did, man, that is strange, Kyle. If you want to check the track as well, Paul, see if something else brought that out.
Well, I see looking through my replay that we had a puff of smoke in turn 2. Looks like the 38 car of Travis Roma had a problem. Got himself spun around. I don't know. Yeah, he was kind of around some other drivers. Ryan Messer got into the back of him there and spun him around. So had a few cars filing through. So I wonder if maybe that was the caution instead of. And actually, it looks like it was, guys. It looks like it was, because race control has given both Travis Roma and Ryan Messer an EOL penalty for involvement. So that was your cause of the caution. Ryan Messer getting into the back of Travis Roma, spinning Roma around. Didn't look like Roma hit the wall too hard, but Roma, another one of those guys. It's just been a rough, struggling night for him. He is still somehow on the lead lap. I think I may have just lied to you about that. I can't find him anymore right now. But anyway, it's been a rough night for Travis Roma. He is one lap down in 14th.
Yeah, this is a rough one. Paul, we love you, buddy. This is definitely a rough one. Ryan Messer, it's been nothing but a chutes and ladders for him, so to say. He works his way up, something happens, and he has to go back down. Works his way up, gets right back down. So Ryan Messer, that story here tonight, if he can finish with a top 10, I think that guy would be happy. Well, I wouldn't say he would be happy, but it would be impressive. He is sitting 11th currently out of, I believe, 22 cars that are still on the track, right around that 20 number, but he is sitting 11th, doing everything he can to get back up to the front. It's one of those woulda, coulda, shouldas. If he wouldn't have had that mistake coming into one about 11 cautions ago, would he be in these shoes?
Well, here we go. The loud pedals are hit once again. Lap 187 goes in the books, and we are back racing. You already know what happened up at the front. Oh, my God.
Kyle. Oh, Messer is in it. Messer gets caught up in it late, and he has parked it. Messer said, screw you guys, I'm going home, and he is done. He takes the Eric Cartman route out of this race. 41 of Robert Lee and Mark White in the 79. Seems like they're the culprits at the beginning of it. Had a couple cars in front of them. The 34 of Mike Rhino, your points leader, get up into the marbles and go 4 wide in the corner, but they held it fine. That caused kind of a little bit of a chain reaction, which sent the 79 of Mark White around, and Robert Lee in the 41 helping Travis Roma. Arca breaks his way into it, and then Ryan Messer, he was on the binders, Kyle. It looked like he was trying to miss it, and then all of a sudden, bam, Roma gets turned up into him, and Messer has crawled out of that car, and he said he is done.
Yeah, it's unfortunate to see Ryan Messer pull out of this one. He was very fun to watch throughout the entirety of this 250-lap marathon iRacing League finale here. Unfortunate. He was very strong at the front of the race. Looked very good. Was challenging for the race lead early on. Made some mistakes. Dropped back through the field. Had to try to fight his way back up. Ran into some more problems, as you said. Kind of playing the chutes and ladders game. And now that game ends in ladders, as he is done for the night.
And for those that are suffering from a little bit of technical difficulties, we do apologize, as we have some storms coming through, and it's kind of messing things up a little bit on our end as well. But if you refresh the stream, it does come back alive and in charge in front of you. So for those that are experiencing that, we do apologize on that. So just make sure you hit that refresh button. And if you are new to Vidane Racing, feel free to hit that follow button. Whatever you need to do, the follow, the like, the subscribe, however you are watching us, as we call action 7 days a week, basically, at this point. We do everything we can to bring you your racing fix during this quarantine, as we are back green flag racing at Lanier.
Closing in on the 200-lap mark, the top two single filing out, as they have. Nick Codner and Corey Hall still fighting behind these guys. Corey Hall with a clear advantage. Ooh, little contact there. Codner bounces off the outside wall there. He loses position number 3, loses position 4 as John Braun will go on by. And now your points leader, Mike Rhino, wants to do the same thing.
Is heating up for that 4th position. Mike Rhino right there watching. We haven't said his name as much as I thought we would when it comes to driving around in the top 5 here tonight, but he's slowly and steadily worked his way up there, as he is watching John Baran and Codner battle it out now for that 4th position as they head into 3.
Really good fight right here. Connor is able to use that outside line to his advantage to stay with the 57. You can see some battle wounds on that number 57 Fury car. Maybe that's having a negative impact on him, but he's still fighting for a very good position here inside the top 5. This is a fantastic fight. Codner with the advantage on the outside line. Maybe now that top side's starting to get to its raciest point that we've seen all night long.
And the drivers have been warned, if this keeps up, they're going to be going to single file restarts to see if that makes any difference. But it looks like now the field has started to thin out. And when the field thins out, you start to see green flag racing as we come across to 50 to go. This time by, you never know, we might now see 50 green flag laps. You willing to bet on that one, Kyle?
Absolutely not. I'm taking another caution or two.
Oh, man, you know what? I'm not much of a betting guy, and I'm probably going to be right there with you. But I think right now you kind of have the best of the best that are out there, or at least the strongest that have survived. Kyle, back in the NRO 3 days, we used to run the league that shall not be named because they're not worth being on our stream. They used to have a last man standing league, if you remember that, where it was basically a wreck-a-rama. The winner of the race was the last man standing, and I feel like that's kind of almost how this has been.
Wes, we've got trouble for the 83 car of Corey Hall. I believe his motor just popped in position 3. Looking back on the replay, that's exactly what happened. Corey Hall detonating an engine out of third place. What a heartbreaker for him. He's seen his fair share of adversity throughout this race. Just got himself, well, didn't just do it. He's been in the top 5, back up in third for a little while now. But that is all going to come to an end as his number 83 machine blows up. He will be done for the evening. No caution.
And that means Messer and Hall, 2 drivers we've seen in the top 5 quite a bit early tonight, got sent to the back for one reason or another, battled their tails off to get back to the front of the pack, and now are retired from this race. I think possibly too much front-end damage there for the 83 of Corey Hall, and possibly busted in the radiator, overheated, and he may be done for the rest of the night. He's still sitting on pit road. Hood is up on that car, but looks like it is over for him. He will not be winning tonight. And the caution is out one more time, and around. Oh, it's our Flex Seal friend, Sam Rogers.
Yeah, I was watching the leaders when that happened there. I have absolutely no idea. That was just a very, very strange spin on the number 12 car. He entered the turn in a very awkward angle and just dumps it around. I don't know. I almost want to say that was it kind of looked like almost an intentional spin, but I don't really know. That car is quite beat up, so maybe it's just handling really funky, and he somehow lost control on the backstretch.
I don't know what his benefit would be to intentionally spin, unless he's trying to text somebody and he needed another caution to come out to finish his text message, to bring out the 872nd caution of the night. Brought to you by Shed Life Shed Movers, and also shout out to Sunshine State Racing. Sunshine State Racing brings you all the racing action on Facebook all around the state of Florida. Shout out to them, as well as the Florida Pro Truck Challenge Series, some proud sponsors of Vidane TV, and that is it for Sam Rogers. He has been disqualified. That means he's caused too many incidences in this race. Mr. Arbo said, all right, that's it, you got to be parked, and he has headed down pit road, and he is done for the night. So again, shout out to our proud sponsors here: Shed Life Shed Movers, Sunshine State Racing, Florida Pro Truck Challenge Series, College Hunks, Holland Junks, Rowdy's Dipping Services, AWS Roofing. We got so many sponsors and supporters, it's hard for me to say it within 6 drinks. But back up front, we have Mr. McDonald has, well, if he had a farm, he'd be saying E-I-E-I-O, because all he's done is led these sheep to the flag.
We'll get the field doubled up here. We'll go green once again. We have 38 laps of racing left to go. I'll be interested to see how much longer this teamwork has been going on between the 98 and the 87. It's pretty clear these guys are working nicely with each other. The 98 fires, the 87 drops down to the bottom. I called it before it happened because I knew it was going to happen, and there it is. But you know, Danny Chisholm wants to see, and somebody spins.
Oh boy.
Who was it that made half of the race bet? I got to go back through Randy Titus. Randy Titus, I saw this is caution number 23, and under that last one we had 110. So I think we're working our way towards that bet there, Randy. I think you're gonna.
My wedding had less caution flags thrown up at it, as everybody told me to walk away back in 2011. And there was a lot of caution flags thrown up at that ceremony. And this race may have overcame it. So congratulations, guys, as Danny Chisholm has headed down pit road, which is a huge story because he was just setting second place, was Danny Chisholm.
Maybe trying to find a tighter advantage on teammate Craig McDonald, breaking away from the strategy a little bit to see what he can do. Why not? Why not give it a go? There's only 8 cars on the lead lap. He won't be that far back once he comes out of the pit. So this will be fun to watch. See if Danny can have an opportunity to get an advantage on his teammate Craig McDonald and steal a domination.
What has been happening isn't working. You got to do something. You got to change it up. You know another caution's going to come out. That's inevitable. We still got a couple drivers out here that are probably going to make sure that we're going to see the caution come out one way or another. So you might as well try something. You know, shout out to Danny Chisholm. He's one of the more aggressive drivers that has no problem going to the front, giving the bumper if need be, but he does it in a clean manner. He's very assertive, and he wants to win. And Danny Chisholm's made a decision that he feels that will help him win, unlike Chase Elliott's crew chief a couple races ago.
Shots fired. New dancing partner for the outside front row of Nick Codner. He will challenge Craig McDonald now for this race lead. I do believe Codner is the team owner of that team, so may not see too much of a different strategy here, but we'll see what happens. Green flag is out. Great start by Craig McDonald. Nick Codner did not get off to a very good start. He's got John Baran underneath. Baran pushes up, loses some momentum. Codner goes to second, and now Baran is side by side with Ethan Miller for third.
All right, and now it looks like we only have about, I'm going to say, oh, we got a wreck up and a rover. Goes David Wooldridge across the line as he gets Ryan Newman to go into one as he skates over onto his four wheels after scraping across his roof. He just kind of got pile driven through turn 4 by the 79 and then into down into turn 1. And well, let's check on our neighborhood friend Paul Strickland. Paul, are you still good?
As good can be. Just taking a look at the Shed Life Shed Movers instant replay, and you saw exactly as you called it, Double O. Not his first wreck. Unfortunately, you can see there's a lot of damage on that car. Just flipped him kind of over on his roof, got on all fours, and well, he's still running to 14, so we may as well finish it out. He's currently 3 laps down, but there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars 3 laps down, so still could possibly get a top 12 out of it. And speaking of lead lap cars, there are 8 of them left.
Danny Chisholm just got an end of longest line penalty because he was a part of that incident. And one of the rules here at this league is if you are part of the incident, you have to go to the end of the longest line, even if you're not deemed completely at fault. So possibly pitting may have backfired on Danny Chisholm here, Kyle.
Yeah, not only does that end of line penalty put him towards the back of the cars that are on the lead lap, that'll put him behind all of the drivers that are off of the lead lap and are still in this event. So this is going to be a major detriment to him to try to overcome late in the going. We're only going to have 26 laps to go when we get to the line here this time, and we're still going to run another caution lap or 2 before we go back to green. So Danny Chisholm's going to have to be really aggressive here to work through the field, but he's got to be careful not to do that again. Any involvement in a caution, and you go right back to where you were. So this is going to be a very tough obstacle for him to try to overcome, but we'll see what he can do. We know he can do it. He's been one of the best cars all night long, but will he do it? That's the real question.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Danny Chisholm has stacked the deck on his head as we are back green flag racing as Craig McDonald gets the whole shot one more time. Nick Codner second. Ethan Miller third. John Baran will file into fourth. And up the 78 of Fitzpatrick gets bumped for fifth. He gets moved up the track by Michael Rhino. No harm, no foul. Actually, a pretty good bump and run there. I'm not sure if Mike meant to do it, but it has worked out. But will we see a receipt given, as we would say in the wrestling world? If the 78 can get to him, they're side by side behind them.
It was a pretty nice save there by John Fitzpatrick from the nudge on the 34 car. How about that 21 right behind the 78? Roger Down. He's been through hell and back throughout this race. He is still on the lead lap and is currently riding around in position number 7. He's got, let's see, the 2 cars behind him, the 39 and the 24, those guys are off the lead lap. Danny Chisholm is the next car for position behind him. He's trying to work his way around, and he makes contact with the 39 car. Almost spins Chris Roma around. Roma gives him space now in 1 and 2, lets him go. That could have sent him back to the back of the field like we just saw. Somebody's exploded something on this racetrack, Wes. There's smoke everywhere.
I'll tell you what it was, and it was something of Paul's, but we can't say that on air, as Chisholm begins to work his way back up through this field. And Downstream reminds me of a family and a couple drivers at New Smyrna Speedway, the Doms, Mike and Dom. He's always the underdog. He doesn't have the fastest equipment. He doesn't have the high-dollar motors, but he shows up and he completes every single lap. As the 00 gets wrecked again, coming off of a turn 2, looks like possibly that rocket down in the Space Kennedy Center might have liftoff before this race is over.
Oh, we've got more than just that, Wes. We've got some fireworks that are about to set off here. What may have actually caused the caution was the 39 of Chris Roma and the 16 car of John Gahan. The two of them made contact coming off of turn number 2. Gahan goes around hard into the outside wall. He's able to clip Chris Roma, spins Roma around, and then Gahan just goes full board head on into the 39 after the fact. I don't think race officials are going to like that one.
Around to 15 to go. Thank the racing gods. 15 to go in this marathon enduro race brought to you by the Maritime iRacing Series here as they are wrapping up this 250 lapper at Lanier National Speedway. Craig McDonald has been the show so far. Nick Codner has quietly worked his way up the second and has held that position. As honestly, this might be a caution that Chisholm wanted to see. He doesn't have to worry about those lap cars. Now he's going to have about 11 to 10 laps to work his way up there and possibly get a top 5 out of this.
Yeah, it'll be fun to see what he can do. Clearly, the driver with the freshest tires underneath of him, and now he will not have to deal with the lap traffic like you just mentioned. He's not going to have a lot of time to do so, so he needs to be aggressive. He's got to get up on that wheel and see what he can make of this. But it should put on a show here for this final segment of this race. Can confirm with you all that Race Control was not a fan of John Gahan's intentional smash there on the 39 car, so they have disqualified him. He is done for the night. John Gahan, it's been a rough one for him as well. One of these guys that's been involved in multiple issues,
Kyle,
many laps down, and his night comes to a premature end.
Is it fair to say John is Gahan?
Oh, he's gone.
He's Gahan. Going, Gahan is John after the incident that we just saw. And the lights are out for probably the, I don't know, my Christmas lights don't even blink as much as these lights have tonight. As hopefully the last time, as we're going to be restarting with almost 10 to go.
Craig McDonald will lead him back to the green flag like he's done so many times. Tonight, 12 laps remain here in this 250-lap season finale for the Maritime iRacing League. Nick Codner running in second. Ethan Miller has a challenge from John Braun. Braun trying to use the top side. That opens the door for points leader Mike Rhino to sneak underneath. Rhino will take that opportunity, trying to get around him for position number 4. John Fitzpatrick watching this battle and looks to try to fit through the open door. Oh, Danny Chisholm gets into the back of Fitzpatrick, boots him up the racetrack and takes over the spot. Contact between the 34 and the 57. Here comes Chisholm underneath the 57, but it's derailed by our 9,000th caution of the night.
Kyle, I believe we have more cautions than there are playmates at the Playboy Mansion, and that place is filled with bunnies. As we are under caution one more time at Lanier National Speedway. I hope this is the last one because I'm all out of daddy sodas.
I should have brought more with me to the broadcast booth.
Wait, hold on. You guys want some sodas?
Oh, please. Please.
Please, if you can, mix it with, I don't know, anything.
Wait, you mixed your daddy sodas with something?
Yeah.
Are we talking about the same daddy soda? Paul, can you help me out here?
Paul's
Well, apparently the daddy sodas are the same thing as a wobbly pop. I learned that from buddy like James and buddy. Those wobbly pops have been going down pretty good this race here. So I don't really know where that puts us.
You know, where I come from, a wobbly pop goes down, but never mind. We're going to try to get back here at Lanier. We're under, I believe, the 947th and a half caution here. What's the stat of cautions? I believe we had a gentleman that 6 cautions for how many laps?
There you go.
Laps.
Randy wins it.
Randy wins. I think he said 125 laps. Do we have any green white checkers tonight? Oh no.
I hope not.
And believe me, this is no disrespect to these competitors as they have driven their tail off, but this has been a long 250 laps.
You know, boys, I've been sitting back kind of watching this unfold. You guys have done a great job grinding through this thing, but we're getting doubled up and getting ready to come back to green. The 87 on the outside, Paul mentioned potentially unlimited green-white checker finishes. If a guy like Danny Chisholm or Mike Rhino on the outside can start to make some moves here, Craig McDonald has dominated this thing, but you never know what happens late in the game when everybody gets greedy.
That bumper gets a little more stronger after you see less than 10 to go. You get a wave from that flag man for 5 to go, as now, Connor takes off the bumper of Ethan Miller, who quietly has worked his way into the top 5, coming through 3 and 4. McDonald leads the way.
Watching that charge from Danny Chisholm, trying to get these last few spots throughout these final laps. We're coming to 2 to go this time by. He is sitting in position 7 behind the 78, not able to do much, but look at your points leader, Mike Rhino. He's under fire from Ethan Miller, trying to use the top to get that pass done. He needs to find something here because John Braun looking underneath. Contact is made. Braun coming underneath as they come to the white.
Thank God. The white flag is out here at Lanier. That means no matter what happens, all 3 of the cars left on the track can wreck, and we're going to see the checkered flag, the next flag. And Mike Rhino taking a move to the bottom here, trying to get, and he makes contact. Contact as McDonald wins the race. Oh, man, Mike Rhino just plows the 80 across the line. John Fitzpatrick rides the wall coming through 1 and 2 to end this race. Wow, what a finish.
Had a pretty wild finish back there with Danny Chisholm and John Fitzpatrick, the 2 of them door banging each other. They both go into the outside wall. Patrick's car goes up onto the wall, rides the wall like Tony Hawk grinding. Oh, no, he does flip over. John Fitzpatrick flips over. Danny Chisholm flips over. That was a great battle for 6th. Danny Chisholm able to hang on. But the dominator of the night gets it done. Craig McDonald closes off the Maritime iRacing League with a strong win over Nick Connor. Ethan Miller comes home 3rd. Mike Rhino, your points leader. And now we can say your champion has finished in position number 4. And John Braun finishing out your top 5.
Rhino had what it took to get it done throughout this season. He was not your winner tonight. Just because you didn't win a battle doesn't mean you can't win the war, as Mike Rhino is your overall champion. But bringing it home tonight in first place was Craig McDonald. So we're going to take a quick break for you guys real fast. And when we come back, we're going to wrap things up and let you know what is to come next, not only for this league, but for Vidane TV.
Living with anxiety or depression can make everyday situations and interactions seem impossible, and getting the right help can be expensive and inconvenient. We're changing that with Tranquility. Our program follows the highly effective gold standard, cognitive behavioral therapy, which helps people change negative thoughts and unhelpful behaviors by teaching them skills to practice in real life. Using Tranquility is convenient. You can move at your own pace from your phone or computer, and you don't have to do it alone. Your one-on-one coach is there to help keep you motivated and supported all the way through. If you're ready to unlock the tools you need to approach the day with confidence, visit tranquility.app to sign up for a free trial.
Welcome back to Vidane TV. Great to see the Tranquility folks along with us, and you'll get to see the Tranquility super late models for the TCM special events coming up on June 5th. They'll be at the South Boston Speedway, and we've got some more events coming up. And Wes, you guys are busy, but I know it's summer. The temperatures are warming up across North America, and you guys might get a couple of days break by the sounds of it here on Vidane.
Yes, the way that our events are looking, we may get a couple days off, but not many, as I believe our Friday and Saturday currently is not completely booked up for a change. So if you are looking to possibly get in on a Saturday night, that would be a Saturday to do it, because after that, the month of June is completely booked up here at Vidane Racing. When it comes to June, we start off on June 1st and we go on into a 10-day stretch before our first event off, with Monday being the first, being the Florida Pro Truck Series at 8 p.m. Eastern, followed up by the TCM Legends that will be June 2nd at 7 p.m. The new Smyrna World Series of E-Racing Wednesday, and then we move on to the Shift IROC Series Thursday. So there are still some openings for leagues that may want to hop in on a Saturday evening or afternoon to get some action called here by Vidane TV. But I'll tell you what, I had enough action tonight to last me throughout the rest of the week. Woo! What a race. And I got to give a quick shout out to Kyle Young. Kyle, you have a pretty big event coming up for you here soon as well, aren't you? Possibly in Maryland.
Yeah, fortunately, us here in the Northeast, we got some very good news out of the Short Track Super Series. They will be making their debut event at the Potomac Speedway in, I think it's Mechanicsville, Maryland, next Sunday, June 7th. So that is super cool. The Short Track Super Series, a big block modified touring series up here in New York State, New Jersey, Delaware, Pennsylvania. They've been struggling to get up and going with the COVID-19 pandemic going on. They actually ran some races last week down at the Tri-County Racetrack and the Cherokee Speedway in North Carolina and South Carolina. They allowed those modified competitors staying down there and making the trip even further south to the Chatham Speedway in Louisiana to race starting tomorrow. So our big block modified drivers starting to find a little bit of racing to go to. I know racetracks here in New York, they're starting to open up or announcing opening up plans in June. Unfortunately, all of them are without fans because our governor sucks and isn't allowing us to do that yet. But at least seeing racetracks opening up in New York is an enlightening sign, and hopefully either by the end of June or July, we can start to fill those racetracks again.
Well, hopefully, Governor Chomo or Cuomo, whatever you guys call him, will end up opening up his eyes and opening up racetracks along with it. But luckily, we have New Smyrna Speedway opening back up here in Florida this Saturday, along with fans. So we're excited for that. Of course, many tracks down here in Florida have been open for a while. Citrus 417 Showtime. We're getting back to racing here in Florida, as well as your dirt tracks. North Florida Speedway has gotten back ramped up. So we're looking forward. The bad thing, Kyle, is if we don't have COVID stopping us, it's been rain. As actually the NASCAR race got rained out today. Unfortunately, it will be run tomorrow night. So boys, that's about it. Paul, you got any final words for us there, man? You icing down the phalanges?
Yeah, we're doing whatever that means. Just wrapping everything up. We've already gone through the schedule and all that good stuff. We're going to be running with the Shift IROC series tomorrow night. We're going to be taking, looks like probably taking Friday, Saturday off.
Oh, I didn't notice this, man. Look who has just creeped up here. Didn't even hear him. Craig McDonald, are you there, buddy?
What's up?
We didn't even hear you come in, brother. What a finish. We can't sign off without talking to our winner tonight. You dang near led this thing from flag to flag. You made a pit stop, and that's the only reason why you didn't win it. Lead it flag to flag. Walk us through this race for you tonight.
In that race, it was definitely wild. I got lucky just beating my two teammates, Corey and Danny, out for the pole off just pure luck, and us three just kind of tried to run up front for as long as we could, just chilling and having fun with Messer and stuff. And Corey got taken out there pretty early in the race and managed to battle his way back up till he blew up, unfortunately. And me and Danny, we pitted, and he wanted to pit, and I've ran enough of these races that every time I pit, it never works. I always wreck every time. And at first I thought that happened again because as soon as I pitted and came back out, there was a wreck, and I went through it and somehow didn't get completely taken out. And then me and Danny managed to get back up front, and we were just chilling. And then with 30 to go, he said, "Well, I'm pitting." I said, "Well, have fun with that."
Yeah, we were it was probably, you didn't get to see much of it, but there was a lot of calamity further in the back. So when we noticed that you went to the back, our hearts kind of skipped a beat a little bit. Like, man, we've seen this time and time again where fast drivers pit, they get stuck in the back and they get stuck in an incident. Fortunately for yourself, you didn't get caught up in anything. Who gave you the toughest competition? Because you had 3 or 4 different drivers take a shot at your right rear, Ryan Messer, Danny Chisholm, and more. Who gave you the toughest fits for tonight?
Definitely the one that I was looking in the mirror the most probably was Danny and Corey. Messer too at the start there, but I was watching him enough to see that he was really burning his stuff up. So I knew if he, was with me, he would burn it up in 5 laps. And sure enough, he burnt it up and put himself on the fence. But Danny was doing a really good job for someone so young. He was showing a lot of maturity tonight, which, me and Corey kind of harp on him a lot for not having. But tonight he definitely showed me and Corey, he's got the talent. And tonight he had the patience. Just he has my luck from a few years ago of running these races of pitting and thinking it's the best idea and getting fresh tires and just getting collected up in. I mean, I took a 2 or 3 year break from iRacing, and I used to run these MiRL races all the time when Tim hosted it and everything, and I could never win a race, came close every time, struck out. So, finally, I think 6 years after I ran my first MiRL race, I finally got the dub.
And you definitely earned it tonight. You were the dominant performer. Now we know in real life it takes a family, it takes a lot of help to make this happen. We know even in the sim racing world, it may take a little bit of help here and there to get you where you're at. Anybody you would like to shout out that may be watching that helped you out in sim racing, or just maybe a friend or family member you want to say hello to?
Yeah, for sure. Of course, I'd like to thank CHR for on iRacing. He's always getting me to come on and run with them in real life for his setups. Robbie's Towing, Chris and Kyle and Robbie, they're the best. I see them in real life and on here. GS Racing, I mean, they're a big part of both. They're always cheering us on, whether it's at the track or here. And actually, one of their better halves actually just passed away. So I'd like to dedicate this one to my friend Jerry's wife who passed away last week. And also Overall Collision in real life and iRacing, always a massive help.
All right. And with that, we will send you off. Congratulations on your dominant performance tonight. A solid season. And we hope to call another race that you're in here.
Perfect. Thanks, guys.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was your winner, Craig McDonald. And with that being said, we will bid you a so long, and a good night. Until next time, we will bring it to you, and we will bring it to you live, Fidane TV style. Good night, everybody.